They won't stop.
Can you guys believe we have the honor of having Bill Lustig here right now? Yeah. Bill, thank you so much.
I love Draftouse. I love Tim League. I love San Francisco. It's my pleasure. I'm delighted to be here.
Man, we have so much to talk about, but let's start in the most elemental way. Who here was watching Maniac Cop 2 for the first time tonight?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow, what was that like?
Oh, you see that?
I'm going to ask you some simple Maniac Cop 2 questions, and we'll open it up to the floor to these guys.
Well, first I want to ask, how many of you who saw Maniac Cop 2 for the first time had only seen the first or hadn't seen the first? I don't know. You guys seen the first one?
I saw it today.
Oh, you saw it today?
Like in preparation for tonight?
Yes.
Did it help?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a really good movie. This one was better.
Was it more fun to shoot the flame scenes or the car chase scenes?
Well, the flame scenes take forever. And the car scenes, a lot of the time, we would split it up. It was a combination of first unit and second unit, the car scenes. The car scenes are like building a puzzle. It's not like you're putting together like, we actually would call it during the making of it, we need this piece, we need that piece, and we would actually be sitting there like putting together a puzzle of all the little pieces. Like when I look at the girl like hanging from the side of the car, okay? We shot that in New York, we shot that in Burbank, we shot it in downtown LA, all little pieces in order to create an illusion.
It's insane how good it all looks, though.
Well, that's the idea. I mean, you want it to look. I mean, I see continuity errors. I see all that stuff because I'm familiar with the movie. But it's the way it is. It's you're putting together little tiny pieces, and the music and the sound editing, all of that kind of brings it all together.
What are the flame scenes? Because it doesn't seem slowed down like the other. So how do you do that? That's insane.
Well, the guy, first off, that scene was inspired by the original The Thing. The beats of the scene are The Thing. And we just, elaborated on it, but it was the movie, the original Thing, not John Carpenter, the original Thing. Anyway, how we did that is you shoot it. You see, here's the thing about when you're lighting people on fire. They go at their own speed. So what you have to do is you have to block the scene, set up the cameras, get everybody in position. All the assistant camera people have to have their focus marks. Everybody's got to know exactly what they're doing and where they're going to be. And then you wait. And you don't go to the stunt people and say, hurry up, we got to go, we want to break for lunch. No, it doesn't work that way. They're going on fire, and going on fire is tricky. It's tricky. Now, I will tell you that the funny part about it is, what's dangerous about it is the guy on fire doesn't feel heat. He feels cold. It sounds bizarre.
How is the suit set up?
Well, the suit, but they also put gel between the skin and the suit. And the Zell, it's called Zell gel. It was invented by a guy named Gary Zeller. And he invented this gel. And what happens is when you heat it up, it feels cold. So you can actually burn yourself not feeling the heat. Jesus. I don't know if this, okay, I had this one thing. I wanted to tie in the Leo Rossi character with the fire. So I wanted to be able to show the monster grab his arm go on fire, and we pan up to see Leo's face. It was important to me because it ties it all together.
Yeah.
So Leo says to me, well, Bill, you want me to put my arm on fire? You do it first. And that's how I know. I lit my arm on fire. I put the gel on there. And they lit my arm on fire, and it's cold. It really is. And if they don't take it out, you'll burn.
Did that embolden you at all, though, in your career, where you're like, "Well, I lit my arm on fire for a movie"? Like, why don't you?
It's funny when you make a movie, and you're making a movie like this. you push yourself all the time. You're always pushing yourself, even as the director, as somebody there. I'm happy to be recovering from a broken foot, but even in the best days, I don't have the best balance in the world. And yet, I'll jump up on a camera car going 60 miles an hour down a city street, shooting car chases. And, you know, and then I think about it, it's like so insane for me to be
But it's
doing
like
that kind of stuff.
elementally thrilling.
But it's fun, because you push yourself. It's part of pushing yourself. And, yeah, I mean, I've been in a lot of like for instance, those POV shots where you see the flames. I shot all that. I shot all the stuff. I was in the back seat of the car with the sparks flying.
What was the insurance situation on your movie?
Well, we did wreck one camera. We wrecked the camera that was facing out with the taxi cab going into broadside into a car. We totally destroyed a camera there. But you insure for stuff like that, you know. Actually, on this movie, nobody got hurt on this film. No, seriously, I mean, maybe some scratches and bruises, but no one seriously got hurt. There was no broken bones or anything.
What other Maniac Cop 2 virgins have questions here? Anyone?
How did Sam Raimi end up being in that movie?
In Cop 2?
Yeah.
You have to buy okay, what happened? We shot a scene where he's a news reporter, and it slowed the movie down. So it's now a supplement, it's a deleted scene that you could find on the Blue Underground Blu-ray and DVD.
That sounds like a great deal, though.
What's that?
That Blue Underground and DVD sounds like a great deal.
I think so.
So to speak to that, like to the Blue Underground side of your legacy.
Sam and I put each other in, I'm in Darkman, I'm in Army of Darkness. He's in Maniac Cop 1. He's in, well, sort of in Maniac Cop 2 is the deleted scene. And I think he's in Relentless, I'm not sure.
So as a lifelong fan of exploitation pictures, and like you were in, like you're going to 42nd Street, you were all in.
Oh yeah.
Real dealer. Making movies for 42nd Street.
I was there during the heyday.
Yeah. Is it insane to you, the sort of like persevering spirit of that, like that you would come to a theater like this place that like shows a lot of these things, or do you think that it's elemental where people always want to see movies like this?
Well, let me put it to you this way: 42nd Street, people weren't having drinks served to them.
Well, they brought them in.
You would take your life in your hands if you went to the toilet. I look at everyone here well behaved. Nobody's raising their legs because there were rats scurrying around under their
What was the
feet.
grimiest theater you went to in 42nd?
They were all were. They were disgusting.
Was there one you wouldn't go into?
No, I think I went. I remember I was fearless. I was 13, 14, 15 years old.
Holy shit, that's amazing.
I mean, I was going to see. You know what's funny? Last night, Midnight Cowboy was on. It was on the last night of the night before. Midnight Cowboy was on MGM HD, and Midnight Cowboy always, for me, had the best. That and Taxi Driver had the best depiction of 42nd Street.
The theaters that have like different sort of like attitudes, right? Like
Yeah,
you go to the Apollo, like the Apollonia or whatever, right?
Apollo.
Yeah.
It was the Apollo. Well, yes, each theater did have its own distinct. There was one theater, like the Apollo, that actually it was so funny. The Apollo would show Fellini's Tiracon the same time that movie would play at an art house on the east side of New York. There was one theater, I think it was the Times Square, that played double features of Westerns. They just kept playing classic Westerns all the time. There was the Lyric, which usually was the move-over theater from the New Amsterdam. The New Amsterdam would play the new AIP double features. I mean, it was each theater had its own, kind of personality to it. But they were all disgusting.
There's that great book, Sleazoid Express.
Yes.
Right, and it breaks it. Like I know it was based on like a zine, right? But it was the book is chapter by chapter, theater by theater, what sort of true scum it would cater to. Well, in the most loving way.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Like for instance, there was a guy I met named Bingo Brandt. He owned the Brandt Theaters. He was the heir to the Brandt Theaters. And one day he sat me in his office telling me the importance of titles, and he was talking specifically about one of his theaters that was on the corner of 42nd Street and 7th Avenue. And he said he had a new movie coming out called The Molesters. And he was so proud. Great title, The Molesters.
It's evocative.
He had a special marquee made, special artwork, you know, The Molesters. And he's standing out in front of the theater, and a couple of people who were the regulars of 42nd Street come up behind him, and they look up at the marquee and they go, "The Molesters! Isn't it about those people who live underground?"
So like Maniac, the original
That's why
Maniac,
I use titles like Maniac and Vigilante. I always kept that story in my head. How can you find titles that they're not going to get confused?
and they're like, they tell you what you're in for.
Exactly.
There's a Maniac, and Vigilante. Robert Forster is a Vigilante, and his buddies.
Exactly.
So did you ever go? Did your movies end up in the Deuce?
All of them did.
Would you
I
go
really
see them like on a fucking Wednesday on the 3rd?
Oh, my favorite thing was my movie Vigilante. After it had played first run forever on 42nd Street, I did a favor to somebody. He never repaid me, but I did a solid for a guy. He had a movie. He needed help on 42nd Street. The movie was called E.T., and my movie Vigilante was the second feature for the movie E.T.
You're a much better movie than
Still, I know that, but
everyone in this fucking room knows that.
I kept thinking, I want to go there on a Sunday where the family is out at the movies, E.T., and then they watch Vigilante again.
Or like the projectionist is drunk.
And it
I
wasn't-
thought Vigilante's the A picture. I
But
don't
it
know.
wasn't like, for 1 week, it played like 10 weeks like that. It was just ridiculous. But that's not
Fucking snapshot of America.
But that's 42nd Street. That's the way it was.
That's amazing, man.
Oh, it was great. It was great. And then there was one theater, the City 42nd Street. They played my movie Vigilante there, and this was when it was the top feature. And you know, this was the theater where they had the steel-tipped boots security guards walking up and down the aisle, and these guys were like, these were like Farrakhan type guys. You know, these were like, fuck with them. And anyway, so the people, I remember I was sitting in the audience and we had a scene inside Rikers Island, and one of the people was going, "You see that? That's where I was," And they were looking at the jail cells.
So it's also a family picture in a lot of ways.
But that's 42nd Street. It was dangerous. It was, I don't get like all teary-eyed about it, except that I miss the movies.
Right.
I don't miss the experience. I miss the movies.
You were going through a crazy thing to watch crazy movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw movies that no one saw in America that only played on 42nd Street.
Has that informed like Blue Underground stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, for instance, one of my great 42nd Street experiences was a movie called Fight for Your Life. I did like a Travis Bickle thing. I took a girl on a date to 42nd Street to watch Fight for Your Life. And I was playing a double feature, I think, with like a Jim Brown movie, 100 Rifles or something. And we're watching Fight for Your Life. Now, have any of you seen Fight for Your Life? You guys haven't seen Fight for Your Life?
You were selling me on this a couple hours ago, so we have to see it here.
You've seen it, right? It's a movie that, to put it kindly, is a potboiler. And it's a movie which, keep in mind, 42nd Street audience was predominantly black. And so you have a movie which was like Desperate Hours, where you have these criminals, a white trash guy played by the guy who was in Bob Newhart. What's his name? I forget his name now. God. Anyway, he was in the Bob Newhart show. And they're antagonizing this family. And they're really like doing all kinds of, raping the virgin daughter who was about to get married and humiliating the father and the grandmother. Until finally the tables turn. You never heard an audience go more berserk in a theater than I'm dying for you to show the movie. I'm dying to see if it has the same effect.
Well, you said you'll be passing through in August, right? So maybe we could.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to host.
I have a print of it. That's one that it's my cherished print of Fight for Your life. But anyway, anybody have any questions? I got off subject, I guess, on Maniac Cop. Anybody have any Maniac Cop related questions? Yes?
Not a question, but I hear you talk about 42nd Street, and unfortunately, this place used to be that same way. I grew up here in San Francisco, and the new Mission before, how before this beautiful renovation and the way it is now, rats running up and down. We had certain areas where games would sit at, and wooden seats, they don't lean back, and metal arm posts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what you're saying right now just brought me back to that whole.
Well, you said the Tower. Maniac played the Tower.
Right, I was going to say, my movie Maniac played across at the Tower. And I came up here to see it play up here.
What was that like?
It was 42nd Street. He was right. It was 1981. It was pretty nasty here. I didn't spend a lot. I just went to the screening. I don't even know if I sat through the whole movie. But
Like back then, would you even say like, let the other directors here, or were you just like, I want to fucking see my movie on a big screen in another city?
well, it was the fun for me of making a movie was going to watch the film with an audience. That's the fun. I mean, I can't understand how people make movies that, that go straight to video. I mean, I know that that's a reality, but it's like a tree falling in the forest. The whole point of making a movie is to make it a crowd pleaser and to listen to it with an audience. Like tonight was great. I loved it. So it was a lot of fun, and I thank you guys for letting me experience it.
We have a great audience.
I mean, I love it. My movie's 25 years old, and it's still.
Or Maniac.
First of all, that was absolutely incredible. My second time through, loved it even more the second time. The first time, all I wanted to watch was Maniac movies after that. So
Okay.
Read a Maniac firefighter, read a Maniac. I was thinking about Maniac things. So inspired. But anyway, it's a total masterpiece. And I wanted to ask you about one part, which is the mask. And did you love the mask?
Okay, one of the disappointments I had watching the DCP, to be honest with you tonight, is I saw a lot of shots that should have been darker. And I know that some of them, the mask wasn't fully, wasn't meant to be seen as much as you saw tonight. I'm sorry about that. We did a 4K master on this movie, and it really shows everything. And I thought we had darkened it so you wouldn't see a lot of what you saw, but apparently we didn't darken it up enough in certain shots. Not all of them, but certain shots you see too much of the mask. The mask was, I always wanted it to be just glimpses, a silhouette, little pieces, never as full on as you saw tonight.
Yeah, I remember it being a lot darker in Maniac Cop 1. Like,
Right.
I never saw his face maybe in that.
Yeah, well, there's a pro and con of 4K.
Yeah, like does that stress you out to like go back and try to remaster stuff and like have your memory of watching the movie with audiences and stuff like inform how you remaster movies?
Well, I mean, I find the whole remastering of my movies to be, it's a tedious process. And, now I know I have to go back on this one and fix it up a little bit. But, it never ends. I mean, I made the movie 25 years ago and I'm still working on it.
And like when you leave that, you're not thinking like, give it 30 years, I'll make the colors so good on this.
Well, somebody once said to me, when you make a movie, you should take the answer print out of the lamp. That's the first print where all the colors supposedly the way you want it. Stick it in your closet and never watch the movie again. Well, that's just not the reality. Today, movies
You
have
guys right to the tower.
they have such a long life. Movies have such long life. I mean, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, digital. It just goes on. DCPs. It's never ending.
What have you been watching lately? Either for Blue Underground or just like for your head?
What did I watch lately?
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I watched some recent releases from, I think it's Kino. They put out some film noirs, and I was watching them. I was on vacation before coming here, and so nobody slapped me on the back like this guy does. Like I'm sunburned.
I didn't know.
Anyway, so I was watching black and white film noirs. That's my favorite genre.
But it's also that informs your movies like
Absolutely.
a lot. So back in the rep theater days, like, how were you seeing that stuff? Just going to double features and things?
Of what?
Of film noir?
Well, there were theaters in New York. New York was amazing for seeing old films. There was repertory theaters in every section of Manhattan. Every little neighborhood had repertory, sometimes multiple repertory theaters. And I was so fortunate that I got to see not only film noirs, but a lot of the great classic movies up on a big screen, 35 millimeter.
And you're just like a maniac, like, pardon the pun. It's like seeing stuff as much as you could.
Oh, I had an insatiable appetite. I wanted to see everything. I was hooked. I was hooked on movies. And I got to the Sergio Leone films and all that stuff. And then a lot of the classic films. I've seen films that have still never come out on DVD. There was Costa Gravas movie that was wonderful called, oh God, I can't think of the name right now, but it was a movie he made before Z. It was, which I got to see. There was such a great wealth of movies in New York.
Well, there's some number, like, for every new format, you only get, like, 0.5% of things ported over. Like, just so much is lost. Like, more than 99% of every movie is lost when a new format comes out that becomes, like, the reigning king, right? Like, from 35mm to VHS, you lose so much of film history. From VHS to DVD, you lose so much of film history.
I think things improve. I actually think that the process of preserving films has vastly improved. And it surprises me how, over my life, I've seen improvement afterward. Every time I think it's the best it could be, there's something that comes along that's even better.
Like, are there still holy grails that you want to see that you haven't seen yet, or has that been, like, sort of answered every couple of years by...
Are you talking about films that I haven't seen that
you, like, always wanted to see, yeah.
Ooh. I can't think any offhand. That's sad, too, because I sit there and I look at, like, TCM's lineup, or I look at MGM HD lineup, and I go, God, I wish I had never seen these movies so I could watch them for the first time. But it's almost kind of a nightmare. Not it's a kind of a nightmarish thing not to be able to see. But film noir for me has been the gift that keeps on giving, because every time I think I've seen all the film noirs, I see something new and exciting. And I'm sure many of you go to the Castro, right, for the Eddie
Hell
Muller.
yeah.
For the
Come on.
I just went to it's Eddie Muller and Alan Rode do a festival in Palm Springs. And I discovered movies that I never heard of.
It's a weirdly deep well.
It is. It just never ends, it seems. Every time it just never ends. Any other Maniac Cop questions? Now that we've talked about everything else. Yes, Jesse.
Can you talk more about Spiro Rosado?
Ah, Spiro. It's funny. Okay, Spiro Rosados came to me when I was doing Maniac Cop 1. And he had only done a car flip in a feature film, but he had no other credits besides doing this little minor.
That's more than a lot of us have done, though.
Yeah. And he showed me a home movie of him running across his parents' house to the theme from Shaft and jumping off the end of the house. And he's a young guy, and I'm going, God, this guy is so enthusiastic about stunts that he really will jump off the side of a house and do all this kind of stuff. Well, I hired him, and it turned out to be the best hire I ever did. He did the stunt at the beginning of the movie here. That was the end of the first movie, where he was hanging onto the side of the truck and goes off the pier. That is such a dangerous stunt.
It's insane. And he swims away.
So dangerous. For many reasons that is not apparent when you look at it. It's the reasons, it's not just the jumping off of the thing, it's so many factors go into that stunt that makes it incredibly dangerous. Okay, so he does that stunt. He then does, later in the movie, he's the guy jumping out of the window, landing on the van, and landing on the ground, and then getting shot. That's Spiro.
Jeez, is he still alive?
Well, not only is he alive, but he's rich as hell, because today, he is the stunt coordinator, second unit director of some little movies you might have heard of, the Fast and the Furious films.
Yeah, that guy.
Captain America.
Holy shit.
He does all the car stunts and everything you see, all those stunts in Captain America.
He does have good car stunts in that. That makes me like him even more. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, he did Expendables. I mean, I could go on and on. This guy's credits today. He's the hottest stunt guy and second unit director in Hollywood. He's absolutely the number one. And it's funny, when I spoke to him it was about a year ago we spoke, and he says, Bill, I still do the stuff the same way we used to do it. I just get paid a hell of a lot more money.
Have you ever ridden in a car with him?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. There's a little piece of business in Maniac Cop 2 that every time I see it, I laugh to myself. And it's when the bus is breaking out of the police yard, it goes down a street, and then you have the police chase cars going after him. And one of the cars does a 180 and goes after him. Now, while we're between takes, Spiro and I would talk, and he'd say, I just saw a movie. Bill, I cried. It was so, I go, he starts talking about the movie Beaches with Ben Stiller. This is a macho stunt guy doing all these dangerous stunts, and he's there telling me how he cried with his girlfriend watching Beaches. And I told him everything in the book. I said, Spiro, grow a set. I mean, that's ridiculous. And all the rest, come on. And then he goes, then finally, we're about to do the scene. I said, and I want this one car to do a 180 turn. And he goes, oh, really? He goes, that's not what we discussed when we prepared the scene. You didn't mention about it. Come on, Spiro, the car's this way. We can just do a 180. Really? If I do a 180 with this car, I expect you to watch Beaches tomorrow on our day off and give me a report on the movie.
Did you?
I did. I cheated. Watch the trailer or something. It was touching, Spiro. I cried. Anybody else?
So I'm noticing in the second one, I can't believe I never noticed it before, it takes place during Christmas?
Yes!
That's pretty awesome, and what was the thought behind that?
The thought behind it is very interesting, you should say it. The reason I had it take place during Christmas was so that when we shot the scene on the streets for the car chase, when it goes up, because we were shooting in this one area, there was only street lights, so there was nothing that could really backlight the cars and give it some dimension. I could use Christmas lights to give the sidewalk some lighting. So I said, let's go with a Christmas theme, so I can, anywhere I need lights at night, I can throw up some Christmas lights, and no one's gonna know the difference.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great reasoning.
Yeah, I always thought, I established a guy hanging a Christmas ball on a tree, a guy who looks so obviously Jewish. Michael Lerner. I mean, come on, he's like Zero Mostel. He's over there putting a Christmas ball on the tree, so anyway, but that was the idea, so I could hang Christmas lights anywhere I was showing. Like you notice when the cop is walking down the street doing the baton, there's Christmas lights on the gate, behind him. It just gives it
Did you check that scene against the original Maniac Cop? Because it's shot in the exact same way, right?
What's that?
When he's hitting the baton against the big park.
No, we never did that in the first picture. No, that was only in the second one. That was shot.
That's on me, then.
Oh, that's okay. It's all right. It's okay. Yes. Any other questions? Oh, yeah.
Did you foresee bigger things out of Danny Trejo?
What a nice guy. He was suggested to me by a guy he was in prison with, Eddie Bunker, who I had done some work with. Eddie Bunker was in Reservoir Dogs. And he also co-wrote a great movie, Runaway Train, that you guys should see if you haven't seen it. Great movie. Yeah, okay. And so Eddie asked me as a favor, can I put in Danny? And I did, and he was such a nice guy, and and we saw each other periodically after that, but we never worked again. But he was just a great guy. And no, I did not foresee. It shocked me. The other day, I'm driving in LA, and Danny Trejo taco stand. Have you guys seen that? He's actually branded his name. He's got a taco stand. There was a lot of people in the place, so God bless the guy. Think of where he came from and where he is today. It's amazing. Yes. Any other questions? Is this the end? Oh, yes.
I don't know how to. In the first film, you left it kind of ambiguous, like whether he's a ghost or he's just a guy with brain damage.
Right.
In this one, it's pretty explicit that he's a slasher zombie guy.
Well, I gotta be honest. I always thought of the Maniac Cop series as part of. It's going to sound odd, but I thought of it as like the restless ghost. Mm-hmm. Not so much a zombie, but as a restless ghost. And, one of the films that was influential, two of the films that were influential were Lee Marvin in Point Blank, and also Clint Eastwood in High Plains Drifter. These are the two films that influenced a lot of Maniac Cop. I don't know if you really see it, but that's how.
Now that you say it, I can see it.
Yeah, that's I thought a lot about that. I've always been a huge fan of Point Blank. I think it's a masterpiece. Yes. Anybody else?
Well, there's a thing that's super interesting about it too, where like now we live in a world not to bemoan the modern world, but you see sequels and you see all this shit, and it's like. The first movie you see, 80% of it setting up the next thing you're going to see, right? And I love the Maniac Cop 2. It's like, here's 3 seconds of the first Maniac Cop. We're just doubling down. We didn't plant some shit in the first one that's going to pay off. It's like seat of your pants for each movie, which is super satisfying as a viewer back then and now, especially now.
It's funny. When I did part 2, it was. All I kept thinking about is, I got to top part 1. I got to top part 1.
You did it, though.
And I actually am pleased to say I think we did, but it was a thing where I kept. It was the thing. It was like I had to top the first one. I couldn't make a sequel. I couldn't make a sequel that sucked. I was really afraid of it. It was the first sequel I had ever made, and I did not want it to suck.
Well, it's a sort of, that's like such a good fire to fuel you.
It is. But that's for me what it was. I didn't want it. I didn't want that to happen. We're now doing a remake. I don't know if you're aware.
Who's doing the remake?
A gentleman you had here last week, Nick Winding Refn. He's producing it. We're producing it together, and we start shooting in September. Right now.
Do you have a Maniac Cop?
Yeah.
Can you give us any exclusive news? That's insane.
Yeah.
Wait, that's insane. Yeah. Is it set in the modern times?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Brew Baker wrote the script.
Holy shit! Really?
Yeah. And Brew Baker wrote the script. And
wait, are theaters these days built strong enough to support what you are telling us?
Well,
the Ed Brubaker is like the secret sauce that you're throwing in there. That's insane.
Yeah, and it's Ed and Nick and myself and John Himes. Do you know John?
No.
Have you seen those Universal Soldier wacky sequels?
Yeah, they're awesome. Wait, Jesse.
That's John. John Himes is directing.
Holy
the
shit!
Maniac Cop and it starts shooting in well, we're not sure if it's going to be Los Angeles yet. That's not 100%. It was
find the most troubled place on earth.
2 weeks ago. It was 100% 2 weeks ago, and now we're possibly going to do it with Chicago. We're not sure yet, but it's going to start shooting.
Can we all pay you money in our wallets right now to buy tickets? Will that be honored? That's insane. That is a fucked up movie that I think I speak for all of us by saying we all get behind. 1,000%.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting thing, and
I'm so afraid of Nick Refn's personal definition of Maniac Cop.
oh god, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Fuck, there's no better way to end this.
Yeah. So
Bill, you're the
look for that next year.
Bill, you're the best dude on the planet. I'm gonna, while all these people are here, they'll be back in August in some capacity.
Yeah, I fell in love with this town called Occidental, and I found this house over there that I just love, and I vacation there a couple of times a year, and so I'm up in this area. I'm going to be here for August. I'll be here the last 2 weeks in August, and if you want me back to introduce
We gotta show Fight for Life.
Fight for your life, yeah.
Don't fuck up his vacation in Occidental, though.
Oh, no, don't worry. It'll be fine. I gotta get out of there because I keep burning myself. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. I can't tell you what it means to me. You know, as a filmmaker, to have a movie that I made 25 years ago still resonate with audiences. I don't take it for granted, and I really, really appreciate all of you coming out tonight and sharing this.
Thank you so much, man.